Hello everyone, it is I, RWBY, and welcome back to the Crew Commentary Notes, Episode 11. Now, as I said, in the previous episode, that was not supposed to be, Episode 10 was not the Iron versus Watts episode. It was not. I think it was in this episode. Or at least it might be, or it is. I don't know. Can't remember. But regardless, let's continue and go on. Oh wait, hold on. I also want to say that before I forget, regardless, I'm kind of glad that I still watched it for episode 10. So regardless of me watching regardless of which episode took place, not which episode, which episode the fight took place, it doesn't matter because I'm not gonna rewatch it again until I rewatch the entire series and then break down each and every moment. So what I'm gonna do is what I will be doing is a RWBY rewatch video series where I break down each separate episode, essentially. Chapter 11, featuring Carrie, Pollia, and Miles. Originally, a gravity biome in Amity was going to appear in V3C5. And it was going to be Sun and Neptune's. It was going to be Sun and Neptune versus Pyrrha and Nora. It was a fight. It was written, boarded, and ready to go, but they realized that there wasn't time for it. Now, see, this is where I am right about this is where I'm right that this whole, not concept, but the whole, how everything backfires on them, and how it backfires on them when they have an idea. They have this concept. They have this idea that they want to put out, or an arc, or maybe they'll have a scene or something that they feel is important, right? And then they cut it out because something else is more important. Something stupid, something goofy is probably more important than that, right? And it's a continuous problem, not from just Volume 7, but from Volume 3. And since this is a problem they had in Volume 3, proves that this is a problem ever since the series started, where they have several ideas, and instead of milking RWBY, the product, for money, because don't get me wrong, there's good milking and bad milking, where you farm it versus milking it because, oh, we got milk. We got several cows, let's just milk them dry, right? And you could have milked RWBY in a farming aspect, where you could have literally farmed episodes and farmed volumes. You could, instead of just having this project come to a close, you could pretend this RWBY has so much potential. What I'm trying to say here, RWBY has so much potential as a show to where it can have more volumes than it currently does. Don't get me wrong, it's still going on right now. It hasn't ended. RWBY Volume 8 is not the final volume or anything. And RWBY Volume 9 is probably definitely not the final volume. But what I'm trying to say is, you could have several other volumes before the freaking Mistral arc. You would have probably had several volumes before the Atlas / Yeah, the Atlas arc and Mantle arc or whatever, not the Mantle arc, but when you get to Mantle, the area, the when you get there and the time you spent in Mantle or the time you spend in Mistral or Vargo or you could have milked so many ideas, or you could have milked so many episodes, thus have more volumes and different locations, with different characters, and you could have literally had this going in a very long stretch. This could have been a very you could have milked this like freaking One Piece. Literally, you could have made it to where you literally have not I don't mean filler. Don't get me wrong. Filler can also milk RWBY. But like if you had main plots and main story arcs and whatnot, and main characters and maybe some side characters with some side arcs and whatnot. But like, there's so much potential for the world of Remnant and RWBY as a whole, like, right? In the main show, you could have like side series. I mean, you don't have to have everything in the main show. You could have it like a side series, potentially. Like, there's so much stuff that you can milk from this. It's essentially you would have more money in your pocket, not just money, but like fans would want to see more of it if more stuff happens. That's my conclusion. And moving on, before we take too much time on all the what ifs, this was a hard episode to write. Shouldn't that be the case with all of them, technically? I mean, I mean, if they're saying that this particular episode was hard for them to write in particular, then okay, fine, whatever. But anyways, a lot of stuff that needed to happen and happen in a specific way. Okay, again, like this probably wouldn't be a problem if you didn't have scenes where it's just basically shits and giggles, or certain scenes that probably didn't need to exist in the first place, or certain arcs that probably don't need to exist in the first place, like an election arc, a political arc, Robin Hill being a political figure and all that other jazz. Jacques Schnee being a political figure because reasons. Heck, you didn't even do it right, in my opinion. It didn't feel like, in my opinion, it didn't feel like it was naturally in the world of RWBY. It just felt like, oh hey, election episode. Now you need to be bodyguards. Oh hey. Turns out the bad guy won. Oh, hey, there's no ramifications for the bad guy winning. He just got elected and now he's not elected. Yippee! Let's see, there's another thing. You could have milked that in a good way. To where, like, Weiss has to, like, Weiss has to live in this reality that Jacques is now mayor. Ironwood has to live in this reality that Jacques is mayor of Funky Town and whatnot. But no, you couldn't do that. No. Oh boy. Watts' gun was inspired by a 20-shot revolver Carrie saw on Reddit, which was stupid. Okay, let me just point that out. Stupid is what stupid does, because this is not the first time you done something like that, right? You stole someone's you stole a sniper weapon that a fan made. Not credited. No, not credited. You stole a weapon that Glinda had in the comics. Not credited. Instead of crediting the art and making some sort of formal apology and say, "Hey, sorry." No, instead of crediting her, no, you just changed it altogether, or just took it out altogether. I don't know which one would have been more. I don't know which one was more morally in the right or whatever. You could at least pay her and say, "Hey, we're sorry, but hey, let's yeah." And, commission. The commissions, I guess, but no, this is also another thing. You saw this nice gun on Reddit and decided, we're going to steal it. Iron Word losing another hand represents him losing another part of his humanity, possibly confirming he lost his one organic arm, which could have been much better if the robotic arm the black arm that he had on in Volume 7 was a glove, like some sort of like a healing handicap or something, like glove that's just like, oh no, he has it burned, now it's a glove to help him move his arm. No, just completely cut it off and replace it with a robot arm, a black standard issued robot arm, right? Now, instead of introducing new technology, you decided to reintroduce the same technology, and it's probably even better arm because it doesn't just detach like Yang did in Volume 5, I think. Oh, here's another thing. Yang! You're now saying that Yang is less human. Fucking Pietro is less human. Penny is not human. Or, well, I mean, never was, but that's the point. Duh. But Pietro is not human because he has he has spider legs in a wheelchair. He's not human. Maria, she's not human because she doesn't have eyes. She has robo eyes now. Cinder is human because she has a grim arm. See? It's not replaced with robot parts because she's human. Tyrion is less faunus. Half human, half furry, whatever. He's half faunus because he lost his tail and now he has a robot tail. The less human because you're now more machine. So Yang is less human. Okay, whatever, I guess. That has to make sense. Mercury is less human because he lost his legs and now he has robo legs. Okay, I guess that makes sense. I'm sorry. I know I sound like a jerk, right? I know I sound like a jerk. But like, this just sounds so stupid. It's just so stupid. It just is. It sounds so stupid. Moving on. The first cut of this episode was 23 minutes and deemed too long. They had to scale back, and instead of making new episodes or more episodes for this volume, they felt like they get everything that was needed to make this episode great. Moving on. Initially, the Tyrion versus Crow, Robin, and Clover fight was going to be a chase that turns into a fight that turns into another chase, and Crow is the only one that could keep up with Tyrion since he can transform into a bird. Crow would then land in front of Tyrion and say that's enough, and Tyrion would ask, are you able to talk about your bird, or do you have the way to do your person throw your one-liners? Tyrion asking the real questions here. No, he's not. Tyrion's lack of self-preservation would be shown even more. He would have run down an alley packed with Grimm and would have just trust that it could have made it through. Okay, well, I mean, nothing was lost, nothing was gained, honestly. The fight with Jaime was initially going to be more of a Tyrion versus Crow fight, but Miles loves that they made it a 1v fight to show off Tyrion's exceptional skill, despite what happened in Volume 5, 4/5, because that apparently didn't exist. The 5-on-1 didn't happen. The 3-on-1, oh yeah, that needs to happen. I mean, yeah, sure, cool fight, but like, the fight was also a comeback to the first Tyrion versus Crow fight. No, it wasn't. Where Ruby tried to be a good backup for Crow, but was ineffective. But instead, this time it had Robin and Clover being effective and more experienced teammates. Well, I guess Ren and Nora didn't fight, now that I think about it. They were just there because her dirt. Let's just stand there. But then again, Ruby was being disobedient. Crow's like, I've got this. Don't do anything. You could stand back. And now she wanted to be disobedient. And so, because of the fact that she was the only one disobedient, Jean, Ren, and Nora weren't. Apparently. I don't know why. I have to rewatch Volume 5 again. But again, because I'm going to do like a RWBY rewatch thing sometime soon. So where I break down the volume and gather like have recollected thoughts or something like that. But anyways, Clover's defense, Crow's offense, and Robin's picking away at Tyrion with a long-range weapon. Clover's defense, I already wrote that. I don't know why. Not wrote that. I already I didn't crop this image right. Oh well. There was going to be more discussion of where, again, I got this from Reddit. I got this to clarify. I got the crew commentary notes from Reddit. So, moving on. These are screenshots. Moving on. There was going to be more discussion where Oscar was the end of the episode, as well as a whole bit where the Aesops and the kids land, and they get handwritten notes saying that they've been compromised instead of getting it via scroll, but it turned out to be too much, because why not? I don't know. The scene of Ironwood talking to Ruby in his turn to be being against them was the most important scene in the episode, and something everything in the season had to build up to, because Ironwood had to become the bad guy. Miles said it was about time that the two sides meet face to face with Ruby meeting Salem. Bleh. They wanted to make Ironwood's progression into villainy subtle and make sense, which it didn't. Salem made things personal for Ironwood, so he felt like he had to come up with a solution. They wanted more Cinder and Neo in the volume, but had to cut back. But to compensate, they had to be instrumental to the collapse of Ironwood. Miles first said the collapse of Atlas, so wonder if he slipped up. Yeah, it was sure the collapse of Atlas, all right. Just in Volume 8, that is. It's kind of sort of spoilers, kind of sort of not spoilers, because everyone has practically watched it by now. But if you haven't watched it now, then what are you doing watching Volume 7? Yeah, assuming you've watched this far and you decide to watch these videos, because yeah. I want to talk about Alice, and I want to rant about Alice, but that deserves its own separate video of my disappointments there. So let's go on. Oh no, that is actually the end of that episode. Yeah. And so yeah. I was wrong again. I think the Watts versus Ironwood fight happens in chapter 12. I think. No, it happened either in this episode or chapter 10. Regardless, I'm glad I watched it in the chapter 10 episode of the commentary notes and not in this one, because I don't have time. A lot of things happen in the real life outside of YouTube, outside of the studio. Work schedule has changed and whatnot, so this video was a bit late than I wanted to. There was 1 week where I wanted to do 2 episodes per week, and then there was this week where I also wanted to do 2 episodes, but then things changed. This week I might do another video. No promises. But until then, see you in the next episode. Tip of the hat, y'all. Bye-bye.